Welcome to the Masterful Coach Podcast with Molly Claire. If you're a coach who's ready to impact more lives, make more money, and create a life you love, you're in exactly the right place. Get the support you deserve as a female entrepreneur. Master your coaching skills, grow your ideal business, and honor your priorities in your personal life. Are you in? Let's get started with your host, best-selling author and master life and business coach, Molly Claire.
Hello, coaches. Welcome to this episode where we are talking about how to create a plan of action for your clients that actually works. We all know that as a coach, one of the things that we most want for our clients and for the viability of our business, right, the sustainability, is to be able to help our clients to actually achieve what they are coming to us for, right? And there can be plenty of challenges in having a plan that actually works. And I also recognize that many of you as coaches are doing sort of this softer work, this deeper work that doesn't necessarily have a tangible number goal. So I recognize all of this, and this episode is going to highlight on these very things and talk about why a plan of action is so important, how to have one that's effective, and what it really means for you and your business now and long term. So as I'm recording this episode, or I should say as this episode is airing right now for you, just 2 days ago, I did a full webinar on this topic. So I am talking about some of those highlights. And if you are interested in this topic, 100% you need to go to my website right away and watch a condensed version of this webinar that I did. It's going to talk about some of the things I'm sharing with you here, or all of the things I'm sharing with you here in more depth. And also there is a fantastic success guide for you, which is a worksheet to help you personalize it. And something really exciting that I announced on Monday that you definitely need to know about if you are here listening to this is that for the first time ever, I am offering a deep dive advanced training that is specifically focused on goals and productivity. So of course, over the last about 8 years of my business in coaching, I have been working with coaches, training them in different capacities, both in contract work and also designing my own advanced coaching curriculum, from relationship work, motherhood and family life, of course, to the holistic master coach training and a few others. And these have all consistently been very high-end, high-touch, high-ticket offers. And for the first time, I am offering a bite-sized advanced training. And so this is something that is specifically focused on goals and productivity. It is bringing in the 4 fundamentals that I teach when it comes to lasting change, namely cognitive work or mind mastery, emotional resiliency or those emotion-focused modalities, understanding the nervous system, and of course, action strategies, those aligned habits that work. And so this is a phenomenal opportunity. The day that this podcast is airing right now, we are enrolling in the program. And so you definitely, if you have any interest, you want to take advantage of this. And I have to say also that there are some phenomenal bonuses with this. I really put my brain on this offer and said, how do I make this such a no-brainer offer that anyone that has ever followed me, has ever had any interest in doing any kind of advanced training or working with me in some capacity to build their skills and their business, anyone who's had any inkling, I want to make this offer so irresistible that this is the time that they do it. So that's what I've got for you. That's what I've put into this. So all that being said, if this appeals to you and you're interested, go to mollyclaire.com. Check out the webinar on how to create a plan of action that actually works for your clients. And right there, you can also learn the details about this advanced training focused on goals and productivity. I am teaching. I will be with you there live every single week of the course. You're going to get access to some phenomenal bonuses. So check it out and don't delay, because we are starting in February. We are starting just around the corner. Okay. So let's talk about it. How do we create a plan of action for our clients that actually works? Did you know that when someone has a plan of action behind a goal or a desired outcome, they are 2 to 3 times as likely to actually achieve it? Now, of course, we all know that not all plans of action are created equal, right? In fact, we can go right now, I could go to ChatGPT and I could ask for a plan of action. I could go to Google and I could ask for a plan of action. There is no shortage of plans that someone could follow. But the problem is that oftentimes we don't. And there are very good reasons for this. And this is what I am addressing today. Oftentimes, the reason why most action plans fail is they're either too vague or unrealistic. They lack the emotional or nervous system alignment, which is something I'm going to talk more about. And of course, if you follow me here, you know that I am a huge believer in doing emotion work. Oftentimes, they don't properly address limiting belief structures, these belief frameworks that we have in our mind. Oftentimes, they don't have clear accountability or structure with follow through. Or I'm going to add to this as well, not only clear accountability, but they lack the type of accountability that brings in a sense of compassion and curiosity with the accountability. And rather, the accountability becomes a point in time where someone is saying, okay, like, why did I screw up? What was the big thing that I did wrong this time? How do I fix what's wrong with me? And there is a big difference in the way we address accountability. And one more thing I'll mention about why most action plans fail is these plans are not built to adapt. They don't have the flexibility not only to overcome, the bumps along the way, the bumps in the road that life brings to us, but they also often don't allow that adaptation that your clients need in terms of the plan being personalized to them, personalized to their weaknesses, to their strengths, personalized to support them mentally, emotionally, and also with nervous system regulation. So these are a few reasons why plans fail, but the good news is you're here, and that means you are invested in finding the solutions and finding the answers. So a few of the things I'm going to highlight in this episode today are, of course, a refresher on the 4-part framework for lasting change. We're also going to talk about the 3 elements of a plan of action that works. And we're going to talk about how we can create some tangible, actionable steps your clients will follow through on. And again, if this podcast is interesting and exciting to you, definitely go to mollyclaire.com to watch the webinar, because the success guide that goes along with it is phenomenal, and it's going to help you really integrate all of this. Okay. So we've already talked about some of the things that you may relate to with your clients, right? In terms of how do I create a plan for my client when they're really going after something that's not really tangible, right? They're working on their, relationship with their spouse, or they're needing help with having better emotional regulation with their kids, right? Something like that. So sometimes the goal isn't tangible, which can seem to get in the way. You also may relate to struggling to keep your client on track with a set plan. What do we do when the client seems to be all over the place and they're not following through? Is it our fault? Is it their fault? Is it the plan's fault, right? What is going on here? A very common issue that happens. You also may relate to clients resisting goal setting altogether. That is something that I specifically address in the advanced training is, how do we work around that? How do we work with the clients in regard to that? And also, you may relate to feeling a lot of pressure around having the right plan, executing the plan, making your clients follow it, making them get results, right? So if you relate to any of these, you are, of course, not alone. And so let's dive in to the 4-part framework for lasting change. So the 4-part framework that I teach and integrate all throughout Master Coach training, all throughout everything that I teach and do with my clients is this. Number 1, cognitive work, mind mastery. We all have thoughts on repeat. We have thought patterns. We have frameworks, belief frameworks in our mind of how we believe the world works. We have thoughts and beliefs about what we are capable of. And so whether it is achieving a set goal and sticking with a plan, or whether it is really shifting the way we engage in our relationships or the way we think about ourselves, we absolutely, as coaches, need to have an understanding of cognitive patterns and mind mastery when it comes to our clients. So that is part one of the framework. Number two, emotional resiliency coaching. And when I talk about emotional resiliency, and specifically for you as a coach, this is having a better understanding of how to actually be with your client in their emotions, how to recognize an emotional block that's coming up, and how you can lean into it and help soften it. This absolutely has to exist, because the best mindset coaching or the best plan of action without an understanding and a skill set around emotions will fall flat. You'll be stuck in our tracks. The third part of this framework is understanding more about the nervous system, responses in the nervous system. Oftentimes, we are not aware that the reactions, the responses, the emotional state that we're going to is a function of our nervous system having this automatic response to the inputs coming in. And without this understanding, it can lend itself to, you as a coach trying to fix your client's mindset, not realizing that you instead need to take a look at what is going on underneath, right? This can lend itself to a client having a plan of action, and just that plan of action alone is very activating to them, and they're not having the nervous system awareness. They're not really connected with and understanding themselves enough to be able to create more resiliency, greater regulation. So this is a must, and this is why this is a crucial part of this 4-part framework. The last part of the 4-part framework is creating aligned action. There is so much power in having a solid and clear plan of action that is supported with mind mastery, emotional resiliency, and understanding of the nervous system, and having all of these integrated together. This is truly the way to create the best results, the greatest ease in your client's experience. And this is my favorite part, is this is how we teach our clients how to actually create continued change throughout the rest of our lives. So rather than just tackling one topic or one thing, when we can understand how our mind and emotions fit together, when we can really understand more about our nervous system, and when we can understand how to effectively establish new habits and patterns, it means that we are equipped to continue to make every change that we want going forward. Pretty powerful. So this is the 4-part framework. These are the fundamentals, absolutely 100%. And if you're watching the webinar along this, I go into this a little bit more in detail. And of course, in the advanced training on goals and productivity, we talk about these. We dive deep into these. And I'm helping you to not only deepen your understanding of each of these 4 parts, but we are making the connection between each of them and the plan of action that works. So it's really, really pretty powerful. And I think it's worth noting as a reminder that some of the statistics show that 92% of people trust referrals from friends and family over any other form of advertising. And so, yes, while marketing is important, branding is important, and you want to continue to, in your business, learn how to increase your traffic, I think that we need to keep in mind, especially as coaches that are in a service-based business where we are in service of our clients and wanting to help them, there is so much value and merit in leading with phenomenal service, right? And so anytime we can lean in and develop our skills and understand how to create a better plan, how to have better follow through, we will be building our business by leading with service, right? And when your clients get results, they will refer to you. And the other thing that we have to remember is that when your client is having a positive experience and they are achieving what they want and they are experiencing this growth, that is when renewals happen as well. And I promise you that if you are getting referrals and renewals from a quality, impactful service that you are providing, you will spend a lot less time and money on marketing. Goes without saying. Okay, so we know now these four parts, this 4-part framework, right, of lasting change. And we want to dive in and learn those even further. Now let's talk about 3 elements of a plan of action that works. Number 1, we're talking about clarity and commitment. This is a big deal because when you can talk with your client and help them to have the clarity in who they are and what they want and why they actually want it, there is a deepening of connection and commitment to this desired outcome. And so it goes from a place of, I should really do this, or probably my life would be better, or I just really need to put my head down and go after this, to more of an experience of, this is something that matters to me. And this is why, and this is what this can mean for my well-being, for my future, for my relationships, for all of it. And so number 1, we've got to start with that clarity that I believe without a doubt has got to include this element of helping our clients to understand themselves and who they are and what matters to them. So that clarity and the commitment alongside of that. What this looks like for me with my clients is, hey, this is who you are. This is what you want. Now, how do we recommit to that, right? And so, for example, when I'm working with my clients in our quarterly goal setting, whether it's my master coach students or my alumni community, we start off at the beginning going through, okay, why is it that you're moving toward this goal? What is it? Let's get that clarity and let's recommit, right? Let's remember how important this is. So number 1, clarity and commitment, which of course has woven throughout that clarity and commitment, that mind mastery, that emotion element, that nervous system understanding, and the aligned actions. Number 2, specifically mastery of mindset and emotion set. So what do I mean by this? As you are looking at a plan of action with your client and they are getting that clarity and they are getting that commitment, as we move through and we identify what are the things that need to happen, what are the obstacles that need to be overcome, what are the strategies with them, there absolutely needs to be an understanding of where and how mindset struggles will come up and what are the solutions for those. Oftentimes we can think about an obstacle that might come up would be something like limited time or, something that would get in the way of the schedule. But what about the limiting beliefs that we're butting up against, right? How do we address those? And so as a skilled coach, it is essential that we recognize these, that we address these, and that within your plan of action, you are making space for the mindset shifts that need to happen. Right alongside that is, I call it emotion set, right? What are the familiar and common emotions that are going to come up? How are we going to recognize when there is a big emotion that's coming up, maybe a stuck emotion that needs to be addressed? Because when you have a plan of action and we are missing out on the mindset and missing out on the emotion piece, what that lends itself to, what that can look like is, okay, we're coming together and we're looking at why the plan isn't happening and we're trying to problem solve around strategy or tangible things. But guess what? We're missing out on the reason underneath, behind the scenes, why the client is not moving forward. So that absolutely has to be a part of it. Okay, and number 3, adaptable, aligned action. And this is where we are talking about the specifics of what habits do we need to support our client in changing in order to make this plan of action inevitable. Creating new habits requires energy. It requires commitment. It requires focus. And one of the places we get in trouble with this is believing that we can just change many habits at once, or we don't recognize the amount of mental and emotional energy that it can take to just begin the process of changing a habit. But when we can understand that, when we can bring that in and we can identify, okay, what are the habits that need to change? How do we support this change with mindset, with emotion, with nervous system so that we can make it happen? The beauty in that is that once habits are established, they're automatic. They're easy. And so, yes, when we are creating a plan of action, we want to identify those big tasks, those big things that we need to do in order to make the change. And right alongside that, and just as important in terms of a supporting piece, is identifying the habits that need to be implemented and changed and to become very natural. And so with this third element of what are the habits, what are the actions, how do we make this plan adaptable, and how do we bring into the picture, like take into account the mind, the emotions, the nervous system, and what it really takes to create these new habits. So coaches, these are the 3 key elements that absolutely have to be supported by these 4 pieces of creating lasting change. Now, if you've loved this episode, one thing that I have in the success guide for you, along with the webinar, is some simple prompts to actually help you try this approach of putting together a plan of action. It's going to have you identify, okay, what is this clear goal? What is some accountability? What are some mindset and emotion set issues to address? And what is an aligned action step? So if you're really ready to take action on this, you definitely want to go check that out. And coaches, if you are ready to dive into a highly personalized, advanced training program with me, it is a 6-week intensive. Everything that I've touched on here, we go more in depth on in this program. You're going to have simple and effective training videos for you to kind of prep your mind for our live calls. And then I will be with you live on all of those calls, helping you understand, helping you integrate, helping you to troubleshoot where you are struggling with your clients in any one of these areas. So it's really going to be a phenomenal experience. It's so exciting. I just have to say, on a personal note, it is so exciting to have seen the deep and expansive work that I've been able to do with my coaches, over the years, and to be able to have something that I can give you as a first step, a diving into one area of goals and productivity, and to help you deepen and expand your knowledge and abilities in this easy way that is so easily accessible to you is just so much fun. So I look forward to having many of you there in that live personal experience. All right, coaches, that's what I've got for you. Have a fantastic day, and I'll talk with you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Masterful Coach podcast. Are you ready to build your amazing business with Molly as your coach? Check out www.mollyclaire.com to find out about Masterful Coach Foundations and the 10K Accelerator Method. It's the ultimate support for you as a coach building your ideal life and business.